Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for GPAC's Talkback Thursday. My name is Christina Gaines, and I'm the Campus and Community Programs Manager at the Gogue Performing Arts Center. At GPAC, we're committed to placing students at the center of our programs, and one way we do that is through internships and employing student workers. Join us today to meet two of our Auburn students.
And good afternoon. I'm Taylor Dulesky, Director of Production for the Gogue Performing Arts Center.
I would like to welcome Emily Hatcher, who is a graduate student and works in the Programming and Education Department on all things K-12, and Hannah Blanchek, recent Auburn graduate in theater and works with production and artist services. Emily and Hannah, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would like to invite our audience members to please feel free to ask any questions to Emily or Hannah as we go through the interview today. And why don't we start with both of you ladies telling everyone a little about yourself and what it has been like working at GPAC this past year?
Yeah, okay, I'll go. So I just recently graduated with a BFA in theater management. I am obsessed and have a passion for, creating performance, events, and experience, and the GPAC was the perfect place to do it. So I currently, or as I was a student, I worked as the student production manager, and I also served as the artist hospitality intern. Working at the GPAC has been incredible. It's been a surreal experience because I actually came in while the building was still in construction. So to kind of see it, get on its feet and see everything come to life, and the whole season went by in a blink of an eye has been incredible.
Yeah, and I'm Emily. I am a graduate student at Auburn. I'm actually getting my master's in social work. So I'm a little different than Hannah, where I don't have a whole lot of experience in the arts, but I've learned so much throughout this past year, just getting the gist of working in the arts. And I work in the K-12 program, just organizing and coordinating the shows that we have, and contacting teachers and getting seating and all kinds of things, buses like that, all situated. And then y'all might see me in the box office. I work up there some too, and I really love doing that. But most of my work with K-12 is behind the scenes.
Awesome.
Great.
So Emily and Hannah, thanks for joining us. Excited to have you here. Excited to have Hannah back on campus. Emily, we miss you. But
yeah.
You both mentioned how your academic interests are so different. Talk to us about how the experience at the Gogue Center ties into those academic courses, and obviously unconventional experience at a university. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So one situation that I had, I was creating a curriculum guide for one of our artists, and I had to relate what they were doing back to school curriculum, like science, math, English, things like that. And I am not strong in science and math. I'm mostly English and history. And so really quickly, I went back to one of my classes. My teacher was teaching us about systems theory, which is just a social work theory that we use a lot to relate family systems and groups to each other. And so immediately I went systems theory and dance. They work together. They if one person in the system is out of sync, it kind of creates chaos, as we would call it in social work. So it's kind of a unconventional, like you said, of not what you would typically think of as relating, but I found kind of a different way to look at it, and that's one way specifically that it's related. But even just working with people in everyday life and talking with teachers and coordinating things is all part of social work. It's just depending on how you look at it.
Cool.
Being a theater major, I was able to basically put what I was learning in my individual classes, the theory, the production work, all the little intricacies about it, into a professional setting, which is really, really, it's been an amazing perspective. It's one thing to kind of do it with that like academic safety net and the trust of your professors, and then to go and work with people that you don't know at all. So I've been able to quite literally take in, the managerial, like work and mindset as a student manager and put it into a professional sense. And I've also gotten to talk with, the artists, the tour managers, the agents that have come through the GPAC and listen to, their experiences, their tips and tricks and everything to be a successful artist or manager or just worker in the entertainment field.
Hannah, have you taken those experiences back to other students in the theater department?
Yeah, of course. I've gotten to kind of mentor some of like my assistant stage managers that I've worked with. I've got to work closely with some of the other students in the theater department who've come over to the GPAC. And from there, we've gotten to all kind of work together. I love answering questions. I have so many questions daily from the theater students, like, what do you do? What is it like over there? How is it different? And some of them have come over here and gotten to help with the like loading in, loading out, and actual performances of like our Broadway shows, our dance shows, and they're getting to learn as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Emily, you mentioned to us that you are a social work graduate student, which is generally considered non-arts related, like you said, and then Hannah, which is really arts related, being in theater. So I'm curious, and I'm sure our audience is too, like what were some of the immediate connections between your degrees or your education or courses and the performing arts that led you to want to work at GPAC?
Okay, so I actually remember hearing about GPAC way back when I was a freshman and just first starting out when the GPAC was still more on paper than it was on the ground. And I remember a professor talking about the amazing things it's going to do and them saying that it'll be open in 2019, 2020. And I so remember thinking like, I don't know how, I don't know when or how I'm going to get myself in there, but I know that before I leave, I'm going to want to, dip my toes in there. And sure enough, like as I progressed as theater manager, oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Anna. As I progressed as, a theater manager and a student, I realized more and more how much of the like behind the scenes work I really enjoy doing and where I find my strengths in that. And that's when I realized more like I want to find a way to do production there. And so I just happened to get a call from my wonderful boss as I was working for Auburn University Theater and asked if I could work as a student production manager. I said yes, and I hit the ground running. And ever since then, I've been working back here.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina, I think it's really cool to pull out Anna, who just commented is going to be filling Hannah's shoes next year. So been that
great.
Theater department continuing, going to continue over here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and so I actually went to a different school for my undergrad than Auburn, so I didn't know about the GPAC until this summer. I saw Taylor had posted a listing for it for jobs, and the jobs were like production and sound and lighting and then box office. And I kind of thought, production, sound and lighting, not so much my forte, not really what I do. But I love people and I love getting to know people and seeing people and talking about them and their lives and learning about them is one of my favorite things. And that's kind of why I went into social work. But so I applied and I interviewed and I said, I really enjoy creating relationships with people and I think I can do this if y'all give me a chance. And so they did. But that is how I got in with the K-12 program too, is I talked with Amy about working with kids. When I went into social work, it was originally just to work with kids who've come from difficult situations. And now my viewpoint might have changed. I kind of done a complete turn and now I might want to work with elderly. So, every day is something new, but working with kids really has been great through working with the K-12 program because it's exposed me to different people in the area, the Auburn area, and even the county areas around Auburn. And so I've just really enjoyed getting to work in both areas because it stretched me in different ways where I get to see the elderly population at the box office more and then get to work with the kid and youth population. Well, they're not all elderly. Don't laugh at me, Taylor. But just the K-12 program is specifically for K-12 and then adults and on our at the box office.
Our
I'm gonna
community.
get comments for that. I'm gonna get comments for that one.
So you get to work with a broad community in what you do.
Yes, it's
I
all
think-
very diverse, and I've loved it.
Exactly. It ties in very well with social work.
Cool. So those of you that just joined us, thanks for joining us. My name's Taylor Dulesky. I'm the director of production. And Christina, who is our coordinator of education and campus programs. Hope I got that right. And then we're excited to be joined with by two students, two of our current student workers, Hannah Blanchek, who works backstage and with artist services, and Emily Hatcher, who works with our programming department on K-12 programs as well as in the box office. So cool. My next question was, there are many tasks and responsibilities that go into developing a successful program, performance, event. What's been one of the most challenging aspects of your positions?
Yeah, like I said earlier, creating that curriculum guide was definitely difficult for me because, like I said, I didn't come in knowing a whole lot about the arts. I've grown to learn and get to know a lot, but I sat down and Amy Miller, who y'all have probably met before, said to me, "Do you think you could make a curriculum guide for this artist?" And I said, "What do I have to do?" And she said, "Well, just relate what they're doing to school." And I thought, okay. So it took a lot of research, learning a lot about history and science and math. I'm not great at math either, like I said. So relating those things back to dance was definitely a growing experience for me. But it's kind of funny because now I even say, like, I'll tell my friends about what I learned and say it was more of a learning experience for me to make the curriculum guide than it was. I mean, I'm sure it was beneficial to them as well, but it was just funny to see. At first, I was like, oh no, how am I going to do this? And it all came together very nicely.
Wonderful.
So for me, during our event days, performance days, I can be seen running around 1,000 different places like a chicken with my head cut off. And so I've learned that the biggest aspect that I kind of had to face was learning how to balance it all. You know, I would be running from dressing room to over back to the offices, over back to stage, trying to, you know, talk to the artists, but then also talking to the people that are working with me and trying to delegate, or even having to go off campus to go and buy whatever food the artist needs prior to them arriving or right at that moment, you know. And I've just had to kind of learn to, you know, I want to get it all done as quickly and as in the best way possible to create, you know, the best experience for these artists. But I also like have to learn, in order to do that, I would have to take that step back and evaluate and delegate and work together as a team rather than like, I got this all. So that was definitely probably the biggest thing. And one of the like strongest memories I have from that was one of our very first performances here. I was running, it was maybe just a couple hours before the top of the show, and I was still getting their like a list of things that they wanted while ordering dinner for our staff, while making sure that the artist catering was still ready and set and they were taken care of. And I actually had to go out and I had to get a cake right at the perfect time so that they could present it to one of the artists on stage. And I had to make sure I had to time myself correctly while, you know, tackling all these other challenges and making sure everything's running smoothly for everybody else.
It is definitely work balance and time management, big time, Hannah. Sure. Yeah, for sure. So kind of going off of that, what do you two love most about working with GPAC, and what are some of like your favorite moments or experiences you've had?
Hands down, it's the people here that I work with, the students here, the artists that come through, the managers that come through, and of course our audience that comes through. You know, I've gotten the chance to work with some amazing people, talk to some amazing managers and artists, and really get, you know, their take on this professional world. And then of course, you know, getting to actually talk to our audience if I'm not backstage, and kind of hearing their response, because of course that's what makes it all worth it. Whenever you get to see the audience being so mesmerized and hearing about how amazing this show was, that hands down, no matter what kind of day it is the best part. And then of course, like actual favorite experiences. One of my favorite things to do is definitely reading through tech writers, which if you don't know what a tech writer is, it's essentially this document that says everything that an artist needs in order to have their show. And so when I specifically read through them, I'm reading through what they need in their dressing rooms and what they need in the green room. And so I've gotten some really great ones that at first used to kind of like put me in a panic mode of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find this, from like black underwear to very, very, very specific type of bread that I'm pretty sure is not made here. And I was like, where on earth am I going to find this? And it would like kind of freak me out. It like make me laugh, but kind of freak me out. But then I realized it's not necessarily the most important thing. The most important thing is making sure that, you know, we're reading these fine details and making sure we're reading through this entire sometimes 15 to like 30-page document. So I've gotten to pull out some of my favorite ones in the past. That makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, basically totally mirroring what Hannah says. The people are amazing. I love getting to, even besides the K-12 program, getting to work in different capacities has allowed me to, again, like you said, meet the audience and get to know them very well. And then even with the school show program, it's been really fun to hear, because I talked to them on the phone, but to hear the teachers get as excited as the students about getting to come to the shows. I remember one teacher I had was from a county school, and she heard that there were enough seats for her and her, I think it was 3 classes of students, but it was a smaller school. And she was overjoyed. I mean, she was over the moon that they were going to get to come to the show, and they had never done anything like that. And she was asking me all these questions. And it was so fun to just get to know her a little personally, a little more personally than I do other teachers, because she was so willing to just get excited with me. And it was fun, and I enjoyed that. But then also when the kids come in for the shows, they're just like little kids in a candy shop. They're excited. They see this big building that they've never been in, and they look up, they're like, wow. And they're all talking about it for the whole show. Even as they're coming out, they're doing the same thing. So it's fun to see that even the adults share in the excitement that the kids have about coming to a show and getting to see something new.
And I think, Emily, off of what you just said, I mean, there's no day like a student show at the GPAC.
No,
I agree.
You get to fill the theater with 1,200 students, and I always laugh. You know, we do a lot of shows, but when a student show comes out, everyone's in the lobby. The whole entire staff wants to be out in the students' faces. You know, from our security guard, who always, Miss Ella, shout out if she's watching. You know, Miss Ella's always in the booth. She keeps backstage, but on school show day, she wants to be out front to see those students, because a lot of times it's the first experience they have in a professional theater setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, and it was fun. One of the the only show that I got to come to, because I was on internship the second semester in the spring, but it was the show where they asked for a volunteer, and oh my gosh, all the kids, me, and the whole auditorium erupted with all the kids just jumping up and down wanting to be a volunteer, and it was just so cute, and it makes it worth it to see what you've worked for has made other people excited.
And we get to change it up too, like you know, Terrence Simeon, we had beads thrown all over the theater.
Yeah,
right, we did.
I don't remember what show it was, but we had a Halloween performance where the whole staff was dressed up in costumes, and it's been really fun.
Yep.
There's been a lot of comments from you know, people that work with us, and some volunteers, and talk about how important our students are. I mean, I think it's important to point out we have over 50 student employees who work at the GPAC on a day-to-day. Those students are, you know, we've got chemical engineers, we've got theater majors, we've got social workers, we've got business majors. I mean, all over the place. And it's really cool to be able to bring a group of students together from different perspectives all over campus. And what Chase Bringardner mentioned in the comments about the arts community, you know, you get to bring these new people into the arts community. A lot of these students come looking for a job. You know, they want a job. Right, you pay money, so they want a job, and then they realize they're actually part of something, part of this community, and they learn these new skills. And had a student graduate this past year with a computer science degree, and had no idea the computer science behind theatrical technology. You know, everything we do is a computer nowadays, and how can you apply what they just worked on to, you know, a 4-year degree to a lighting control system or a motor control system or something like that. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any other memories, crazy stories? I mean, there's crazy things going on with the GPAC all the time. I know Hannah, anything y'all want to share? No.
I think one of my like most cherished memories for sure has to be the opening festival that we did to kick off the season. That was the best way to explain it. It was somehow it had the strength of a sprint, but was as long as a marathon. And that was incredible because that's when I first started doing artist hospitality, which is, getting all the backstage ready and making the artists basically feel at home. Like that was my biggest goal, is to make these artists who are constantly traveling feeling at home. And so I was the one overseeing, everything that's going on back there and making sure their food's there, making sure, if they need underwear, if it's back there, and that was just every single day was something new, with Jason Isbell. I got to sit and talk to their tour manager for like a good chunk, just talking about his experience, my experience as a student manager. And then we also had like the Black Tie Gala, which was amazing to have Michael Feinstein and Storm Large, who is quite the personality. And really that was something that we actually produced. So I got to go back to being like an assistant stage manager again and help actually physically put on this show in this beautiful stage. And then as the rest of the days went by, I think I was just going as everybody else was. And I think I was like in mid conversation with somebody as we had just a little bit of downtime. And I think I started to actually fall asleep at my desk. Taylor literally said, "Hannah, you need to close the door, turn off the lights, and sleep for 45 minutes.
There are some days like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of mine, like I've already said, I just really enjoy getting to meet people coming in and just hearing where they're from, what brought them to Alabama and what brought them to Auburn. And just there's people from all walks of life at the Gogue, and it's just fun to see just the diversity that we bring to Auburn specifically, and just to the Performing Arts Center. And like you said, Taylor, it's funny how computer science can relate to the arts, and even social work. I see more and more every day about how it relates, and I never thought that I would think that. And it's kind of been fun to advocate for social work. I was like, yeah, we relate to each other, and we relate to the arts, as well as having a better understanding of the arts and being able to advocate for the arts as well. So it's just fun to get to know people and just to expand. For me, it's fun to expand my horizons and just get to know something that I've never done before.
Very cool.
Absolutely, Emily. And just to kind of speak to that, I love that you said that, because one of the things that is so big with us, and especially our students, is really, showing that our programming can be cross-sector, and it can involve many different subjects and areas, and not just dance, music, and theater, which are the obvious things and wonderful, but that it can also be social work or engineering or kinesiology or so many different things across campus. I love that you said that, because it is really important for us to show that, hey, everybody can be involved in some small way or a large way.
Definitely. I agree.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So what are you guys looking forward to the most for this upcoming season?
My heart is in that musical with Fiddler for sure, to see that. Really want to see that one. I am very excited to at the very least hear and learn about the acts that were moved to our next season that were supposed to be this season. Because everybody was looking forward to them, and I want to make sure, I want to hear about their chance, to get to perform here and their time.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I specifically with the K-12 program, like I said, I was only there in the fall, and then was on internship in the spring, and so I'm excited to see how Christina has done, just like streamlining the process and how it's evolved since I kind of started it, and then she picked it up and I hear she did so well on it, and that everything's gone beautifully. But I look forward to learning more about that and just seeing how it's changed, because I think it's a great program that you've done great on, Christina.
Oh, Only because of you, Em. Thank you. So I'm going to check the live comments right now to see if we have any questions. And I actually think we have one. Are there any specific skills that you'll utilize down the road that you learned at GPAC?
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest ones is definitely communication. I know I've always learned communication is key, but it's different when you're, advancing with a person that you've never met to kind of get a show on its feet. And you have to communicate, either through phone conversations or through email. Like that kind of communication and language is really something you kind of learn as you go, and you have to figure out like how to basically introduce yourself and say you need X, Y, and Z with a person that you've never met face to face. You've never even had like short conversation with. That's hard to kind of be like, hi, I'm so-and-so. You have no idea who I am, but I need all this information from you. So learning how to speak to that, and also learning endurance and being able to just go for super long periods of time, forever.
Yeah. Yeah, communication's definitely a big one. I never really liked talking on the phone with people I didn't know, and then I'm now in a cubicle in just the middle of the room and everybody can hear me. And so I call school and I'm like, hey, do you want to come to this show? And it's totally out of my comfort zone from the beginning, but just communication skills in that, and organization, and just being a self-starter. Amy has really helped me to just, she'll say, I need you, like the curriculum guide. I need you to make a curriculum guide. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look up some options and see what we can do. And she's definitely given me the freedom to do what she asks me to do, and then kind of go back and say, this is how you can improve. And so it's been lots of experience just doing things on my own and making sure that that fits the criteria the best that it can, and being a self-starter and just doing it despite not having a layout like you have in school. It's not always like that, of having a rubric and a syllabus and things like that. So it's been really important for me to get that experience. It's real world experience, and it's been very valuable to me. But again, communication, like Hannah said, is just the most valuable, because I work in two areas that I talk to a lot of people during the day, and it's been a great learning experience to deal with different moods and different people. So it's been fun.
Wonderful.
So Hannah,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Taylor.
Go ahead.
I was just going to follow up with that and see like what advice you have for maybe new student workers or new students coming in to intern at GPAC.
Yeah, I would say roll with the punches. Whatever comes, there's always people to help you. I know I've asked tons of people questions about what I should do since I don't know a whole lot, but roll with the punches. Everything's going to get figured out, and there's tons of people here to help you. And just, if you have the will to ask questions and get things done, then you'll probably be pretty good at the GPAC.
For sure.
Do you guys, last question, do you guys think, and obviously both first times working in a performing arts center, has your mindset changed, going back to the rest of our worlds or real worlds?
I would say this my mindset hasn't necessarily changed just through this, but I've realized, like, I've seen it firsthand now, both on like the academic side of production and entertainment and theater, but also professionally, how important entertainment and art and it is important to a community, and honestly, like the world, in the most, I guess, cliche sense. How important, people need this, people want this, whether it's for a learning experience, whether it's for just an escape, whether it's for just a fun night. We've gotten to see all the different reasons that people come into this building, and how their minds have either changed or haven't, or just have had a good time when they leave this building. It's wonderful to see it all firsthand.
Emily, any ideas?
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think well, obviously my mindset has changed as far as it relating back to school and things like that, but it seems to just bring people together physically in the space of the GPAC, but also emotionally. Like, I am able to go up to anybody on the day of a show and say, oh my gosh, this show's so great. What'd you think? And immediately you're able to relate to somebody over the arts. And that's just been a cool thing for me. I've met so many people by just saying, did y'all have fun? That was amazing. And then they get to talking, and that's just a great way to get to know people. And I've enjoyed that aspect of it. And it's been fun to see that you can relate things back to people with just even that.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's
guys,
amazing, the community. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, community is why I do this. I mean, it's cool to be in Auburn for, I guess, almost 10 years now and watch the community change. Really excited. Of course, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Hannah and Emily, for your time. We're so excited to get you both back in this building as soon as possible. Also want to thank all of our incredible student employees. We could not do this without you. We highly depend on a really incredible workforce of students. We're going to be back next Thursday for at 1:30 for our next installation of Talkback Thursdays. You're going to be joining me and my team, the production staff, on a backstage tour. So we're excited to show you the highest point in the theater and the lowest point in the theater, all the things the public doesn't get to see. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful holiday weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.